Good morning. It's Monday, July 11th. Thanks for joining us on Up to the Minute. I'm guest host, Dr. Lana Pigao, HCC Northwest Communications Director. And joining me today is Montrose Cunningham, HCC Northwest Community Outreach Coordinator, who's going to tell us how to find us on social media.
Good morning, Lana. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Great. And yes, so we're live on the Houston Community College District Facebook page and YouTube, not just HCC. Look up HCC, Houston Community College District. We're also on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and on HCCTV at noon, 5, and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Great. Well, today we welcome back someone with an exciting new assignment at HCC. Laura Ayres, HCC's new Faculty Academy Director of the Anthropology Department. Laura will be with you in about 10 minutes. But first, for Mental Health Monday, returning is one of our favorite monthly guests, Dr. Sean Fitzpatrick, Executive Director of the Jung Center of Houston. Sean, welcome back to the show. I'm looking forward to visiting with you while Todd Duplantis is out of the office for a while.
Thank you so much for having me back.
Great. So today we're going to discuss some serious topics regarding trauma, grief, and fear. So with more than 300 mass shootings so far this year, our country has been grappling with what to do about the amount of time we spend talking, thinking about these incidences. They're in the news almost every day. This has to have an impact on our mental health. Sean, can you talk a bit about the effects of these shootings and the effects that they have on our mental health?
Yes. So it is a complex matter, and it depends on how much we identify with the people who have been the victims of these shootings. But I would say generally for those of us who ourselves have not been involved directly in some of these mass death events, that it impacts us significantly. You know, the origins of talking about trauma from a psychological sense, from a mental health sense, are in exposures to life, to threats to our lives. And now we understand that as a little bit more broadly as experiences that we have that are just overwhelming, that completely overwhelm our ability to process them. But they all retain that link to this experience of experiencing a threat to our physical existence. And so we can, you may have heard the term secondary trauma. And secondary trauma just means exactly that if someone else has had a threat to their life, and we are exposed to that through news coverage, through hearing them tell their story, perhaps through images, that we too are vulnerable to experience symptoms of psychiatric disorders that you may be familiar with, like post-traumatic stress disorder. People who have been exposed to these narratives can and do develop post-traumatic stress disorder just from that. Just from hearing about it. That doesn't mean that you will, but it is possible, and something that we're beginning to talk about a little bit more. I would say just one more thing, which is that we as a culture tend not to talk about death. We have a strange relationship with it. And I think that contributes in moments like this to the negative impacts on us.
Right. So let's talk about that more. You think we don't talk about death enough in our culture. Why do you think that is?
Again, a complex question, but I think we have a couple of handy ways of thinking about it. You know, 150 years ago here in Houston, where anybody who happens to be listening right now is sitting, I want you to imagine who would have dealt with the effects of a grievous wound or a serious illness with the end of a person's life. The answer is likely you would have if you were here. The community as a whole would have been physically tending to the person as they went through the dying process, and they would have dealt with the aftermath, with handling the body and burying it or dealing with it respectfully. So what that's meant is that through almost all of human history, humans have had a much closer contact with physical suffering and death than we have in this very short window of time. And it has, effects on us. There's the psychiatrist Ernest Becker, this is a quote that I've always loved about this, puts it very directly. He says, the irony of man's condition is that the deepest need is to be free of the anxiety of death and annihilation, but it is life itself which awakens it. And so we must shrink from being fully alive. So we're constantly caught in this push and pull around, not wanting to experience the fear that comes with imagining our own death and the need for it as we engage more fully with life.
So how do we have a better relationship with death if fighting death seems like a perfectly sane thing to do?
So again, I would point us to this paradox, right? One thought that's been helpful for me lately is that the French philosopher Jacques Derrida points out that there is a close relationship between hostility and hospitality in our linguistic history. That actually the root hostis, H-O-S-T-I-S, is shared by both words, and I think that helps me think particularly about death. That we both need to be hostile to it, in the sense that we want to remain alive and also host it in our lives and not be afraid to hold the experiences that we have around death, which include grief. And grief is nothing more than the sum of our emotions, all the emotional experiences we have related to a loss. Deaths are a natural part of all of our lives all the time. And an example I would have of this is one that you might not think about, which is that I just literally went into the kitchen before this and made a piece of toast and put peanut butter on it and ate it for breakfast. Well, we are not used to thinking about this, but the peanuts and the peanut butter were living until they were harvested, right? Which is another way of talking about death, right? They ceased to live in that moment. They didn't go on to become peanut plants. And likewise, the grains in the bread were harvested. They were killed so that I could continue to live. So death is an essential part of our existence. And if we can maybe attend to it, just allow ourselves to notice it as it appears, it will make it easier for us to come to terms with our own mortality. And I think of this in just a really simple process. The first is to notice it when it appears. Even in that piece of toast, out in my kitchen, and then allow us to and host it. Take a moment with it to recognize it. Some losses that we experience, some endings that we have, then we do actually experience what we might call grief, right? We experience sadness and disconnection, and so allow ourselves to feel that and notice those feelings too. I didn't feel grief around the piece of toast. But right. Other losses where we might. Right. And the last is just to wonder what might actually become possible because of this loss. What becomes clearer because of this death in our lives? Ultimately, we get some attention back when a process ends, or there's attention can be turned someplace else, and that can be clarifying.
Yeah. So it looks like it's a step-by-step practice. So you look for death in everyday life. You host each death, each ending in your life, whether that's a piece of toast and some peanut butter, or maybe a beloved pet. And then you say grieve. Notice how you respond to loss. And then think about what becomes clear after the loss.
Yes. Yeah, that's the process.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy one. I think it's very difficult to tell someone, for instance, who's lost a beloved pet or a person in their life to say, no, you actually have to feel this.
Right. Right.
Every grief is experienced differently. But I think as a culture, if we can model that and make it more like isolation is the enemy of mental health. And
right.
So, and one of the real losses that we've experienced as human beings over the course of the pandemic is the inability to grieve in community, right? So where we can hold these losses together. talking about it is one simple way to do that. And listening, sitting with someone and not racing to tell them what the silver lining is, or the pet is in a better place, or their suffering is ended, or so on and so forth. That contributes to building a culture that is more comfortable with this and more comfortable with the natural process of grieving that allows us to move on.
Mm-hmm. So do you think if we don't grieve, that contributes to our PTSD?
That I feel that strongly, and I want to be careful about it, because I also believe that each grief happens. I think of it as, again, using this hosting metaphor, each grief is like a house guest who comes and you have no control over when they come and go, but you have to host them while they're there, right?
Right.
So there's no right way to grieve, but when you notice yourself being pulled toward those experiences around loss, to allow yourself to have those experiences when you have the capacity, right, to have those experiences, maybe to break down a bit, maybe to fall apart. That moves us along the path and ultimately in a healthy way.
Great. Well, thank you, Dr. Sean Fitzpatrick, Executive Director of the Jung Center of Houston, and our Mental Health Monday guest.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye-bye. So, Montrose, you have a special guest today.
Yes, I do. Sorry. Yes, and our special guest is Laura Ayres, who is the Faculty Academy Director and a member of the Anthropology Department. Welcome back to the show, Laura. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Great. And it's good to see you here. I know we see each other in passing on campus, so it's great to see you again.
Yes, thanks. With my A-Leaf friend.
Yes, my A-Leaf partner. Well, so tell us a little bit about the Faculty Academy, and congratulations on the new job. I understand that's a new division for HCC. Is that correct?
Yeah, Faculty Academy officially started in January. We fall under Teaching and Learning Innovation, which is a division led by Associate Vice Chancellor Dr. Timothy Snyder. So Teaching and Learning Innovation as a unit includes the CTLEs, the Instructional Design Unit, as well as the Centers for Learning Innovation you can find on the campuses, as well as the Adjunct Academy, and then the new Leaders Academy and Faculty Academy.
Okay, all right. And you have 4 facilitators on your team. Tell us a little bit about your team.
We have 4 primary facilitators that come from a wide range of programs. So Faculty Academy is all about internal faculty development programs. So everything we do is offered by our HCC faculty for our HCC faculty. We know that we are each other's greatest resource. We're all faculty, regardless of part-time or full-time status, regardless of program, we all have to teach. So all of our Faculty Academy sessions are open to everyone to attend. And they're all offered by our current primary facilitators. So they come from government, history, physical therapy, and they helped us conduct a needs analysis, see what faculty wanted, and then start offering kind of both informal and formal faculty development programming.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the colleague connections groups that you put together.
Well, like Sean said, isolation is the enemy. And that's one of the things we got from the needs analysis, is that faculty were feeling really isolated from each other. Mm-hmm. They missed that kind of informal break room chat that you would have with somebody in passing. And so that's how we started the informal sessions, the colleague connection groups, which we have on the first Friday of every month. They're very conversational. They're just this little virtual gathering where we set a topic and people just show up and talk about it. So there's no kind of set program or set thing to learn. It's just faculty talking to and learning from other faculty. And it really helps people kind of feel more connected, as well as feel like they're helping each other and learning from each other.
Yeah, I think that's great. As a part-time faculty member, I think that I learn the most when I'm talking to other teachers. When I first started teaching, just speaking to other teachers, whether it was on campus or in the lounge. And so I think that's really great. What kind of examples of colleague connection groups do you have?
We've had a wide variety of topics so far. So these started in April and they've continued the first Friday of every month. So everything from the BIPOC faculty focus group to classroom communication in the new normal to a faculty book club that just reads a book together and talks about it. So we have stuff that's related to everything from curriculum to just kind of more that informal hanging out and talking about a book.
Okay. And you also have some that support like differently abled students.
Right. Yeah. We have things about supporting differently abled students, about captioning videos, or about how to help neurodiverse students in your classroom, whether virtual or in person, and just kind of faculty sharing tips with each other or coming with a question they need help with.
Okay, great. What about some of the workshops that you have?
Starting this summer, we started offering workshops. So the primary facilitators each found a topic they were interested in from that needs analysis and actually created a curriculum around it. So they started in summer 1, and we'll have some more upcoming in summer 2. If faculty missed it, we'll offer the same workshops in the fall. But each of the workshops has a different kind of goal, and these are definitely kind of a more formal curriculum. Some of them are asynchronous in Canvas, some of them are virtual, and some of them are even on campus if faculty are kind of wanting to go to a campus and see people in person. So we have different topics such as, starting a learner's choice grading model or creating an infographic in your class, all the way to experimenting with ungrading or clinical problem solving. So there's all different types of topics and sessions that faculty can choose from if any of those catch their interest.
Yes, and a couple of them that I had noticed that were particularly interesting to me also, moving from awareness to action, strategies to advance equity in the classroom, and then also words that work, the power of classroom communication, which is extremely important.
Yeah, both of those were very well attended in summer 1, and they're offered by our excellent facilitators who specialize in research. So you're getting it from the best.
Right, exactly. And then this fall, you have the faculty showcase, correct?
We're going to start the faculty showcase series this fall, which is where any faculty can kind of apply to showcase maybe their research or something innovative they do in their teaching to a wide faculty audience. So you don't have to be a primary facilitator with Faculty Academy to participate in the faculty showcase. You can apply, you can show us kind of what you came up with and receive a stipend even for your time. So it's kind of that year-round conference feel.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you, Laura Ayres, Faculty Academy Director and Anthropology Faculty. And we'll have your info in our post after the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Well, let's get to some news, events, and announcements that are happening here at HCC. So our culinary students got a taste of fame. HCC Culinary Arts student volunteers helped kick off the James Beard Taste of America series. It's sometimes called the Oscars of the foodie world. It will travel to 20 markets around the country. And we're so happy it finally made it to Houston, which I think is the foodie capital of the U.S. The Houston event included a cross-section of tastemakers and movers and shakers, such as our Top Chef finalist and up-to-the-minute regular Evelyn Garcia of Kin.
Okay, great. Yeah, that made me hungry. And I'm now feeling kind of guilty, but I had toast and peanut butter this morning, so I'm feeling guilty about that. Also, we have the STEM Summer VR Swift Camps. That's HCC's community learning program with 2 more STEM summer camps, and these are great camps. My daughter was actually in one of the camps, the one that Northwest hosted, and just wonderful camps, but you've got to register early because they fill up quickly. There's one on July 18th through the 22nd, and that's at HCC's Northeast North Forest campus, and then also July 25th through the 29th at HCC's Southwest West Loop campus, and we'll have a link in our post after the show. Yeah,
that Katie camp, that STEM summer camp was just a phenomenal success. It filled up within 24 hours after it was posted.
Yes.
And, we didn't really do all that much promotion because It was popular.
They sent when they posted it, I sent the information to my wife, and I said, well, let's talk about it later. And she went ahead and logged in, and she said there's only 8 spots left. So it was good that we did it early.
Yeah. And that's a great new campus out there too. And, our West Loop campus is so convenient, and our North Forest campus is a nice campus, and those are set up well for summer camps.
Yeah. They're extremely attentive to all of the students that are out there. So.
Well, we have some work study job fairs coming up as well. Financial aid will be hosting work study and Path to Profession job fairs at several campuses. Our Path to Profession is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday, July 18th at our Central campus. And then traditional work study is Tuesday through Thursday, July 19th through the 21st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at our Central campus, our West Loop campus, and our West Houston Institute on our A-Leaf Hayes campus. So we'll have a link in our post for more information after the show.
All right. Then also get your degree for free online. For free, Eagle Promise is back, and HCC's promise is to help you to earn a degree for free. This is a really good program. It provides students with basically whatever your financial aid doesn't cover. So it's extremely good and beneficial for our students. So yes, HCC Eagle Promise program offers qualifying students money to cover tuition fees and books each semester. So if you are a senior or graduating senior, please definitely sign up for that. Let them know about that. And we'll have the link in our post after the show as well.
Yeah, how could you not take advantage of a free education? That's a really, really good program. And, an HCC degree can get you far. It really can.
And with all the all of this with student loan debt, this is a really good program to
Absolutely. Have. Yeah. That, student loan debt is death. I keep saying death. Debt is, that'll keep you up at night for sure.
Yes. Talk about grief.
Yeah, exactly. So summer classes are still open and fall registration is ongoing. So, take advantage of that Eagle Promise. You can still register for smaller summer semesters, but fall 2022 registration is going on now. And there are course options are online anytime where there's no established class meeting unless listed, or online on a schedule where the meeting time is set and the course meets online at those stated times according to the HCC course schedule. There's hybrid, which is kind of half face-to-face and half online. And then we've got your traditional face-to-face in-person courses that meet on various campus locations. And then there's the hybrid lab, which are our lab and studio courses. So for registration to all HCC programs, go to hccs.edu/apply.
Can you believe we're actually talking about fall
already? I know. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? I'm already seeing ads for school supplies. And we haven't even reached the middle of July yet. I know. So up next for Tasty Tuesday, vegan chef Leanne Marshall returns to talk about her new enterprise, vegan pizza delivery. Yum. I know. And later this week, we welcome our regular series favorites, such as Small Business Wednesday, Thursday, Family Fun Day, and Film Friday, which will feature 2 of our own faculty who are launching the Swamp Youth Camp for Future Filmmakers, which I think is going to be off the chart. I think that is going to be very popular.
I think that's an incredible program.
Yeah. Especially with all the kids who have their smartphones and they all make these little videos. My son loves to use his smartphone to record himself calling Formula One races. And he puts them up on his site, and he loves when he gets a follower. So I think that's going to be popular.
Yes, my 10-year-old has asked me about making a movie, and she wants a YouTube channel and all of this.
Yeah, of course. They all think they're YouTube stars.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today. Stay safe and stay cool. It's going to be a hot one out there today, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Thanks, Montrose.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.